What's up, duelists? Your boy is back. After a long bout with COVID-19, I'm finally feeling up to recording again. I may cough a little bit throughout this video, but I'm feeling healthier again. Today I went for a long walk. My fatigue is finally going away. So thank you to everyone who reached out to me and asked if I was doing all right. Really appreciate that, guys. I'm doing much better now. I've got a banger video for you guys today. I've got this list I've been working on for a little bit. Members have already seen variations of this list because I post members only content. If you guys know, if you're a member, you obviously already know. But yes, members have already seen a variation of this. I've made a few tiny changes to it since posting it to members only. But the way this list works is it's a Gladiator Beast deck, right? But it looks to activate and resolve Gladiator Beast Secutor as consistently as possible. I think that if you're playing Gladiator Beast, this is kind of the card to play. It's really hard to get raw card advantage with this deck early on unless you're resolving Secutor. And one of the only ways to resolve Secutor is with Test Tiger. So I'm playing the full 3 copies of Test Tiger, and then on top of that, I'm also playing 2 Super Nimble Mega Hamster, which act as a way to find Test Tiger, and unbrick maybe Drawn Secutor, Drawn Rediari, Drawn Murmillo, and as Rescue Cat as well. Rescue Cat with Test Tiger and Sam Knight is a 1-card Heraclinos, which is incredibly powerful. Heraclinos is really good into the meta right now. I think Glads are actually pretty good right now too. They do struggle a little bit with Blackwings. That matchup can be tough, but hopefully I can explain some of the tech choices and how they help improve that. So Hamster is a card that I think more and more Glad lists should be playing. It's just a way to boost consistency. It's great going first. It can help you find whatever it is you're missing. If you're missing Test Tiger, then it gets Test Tiger. And if you're missing a Glad, then it gets a Glad. So it gets one of those 2 options, which is really nice. You could maybe make an argument for fitting a Raikou in the main, but I found that it was pretty inconsistent, and I kept drawing the Raikou when I didn't really want to draw it. So I do side the 1 Raikou. It's a nice tool to bring in to help fight Royal Oppression, which I think is this deck's biggest weakness, obviously, is Royal Oppression. That card's annoying as heck. And then Hamster's it's just a great way to boost consistency, because I think that the way people build this deck nowadays is they build it and they're like, okay, if I draw Secutor, I draw Murmillo, I draw Rediari, it sucks, but I lose. But this build, it actually doesn't really mind drawing them so much because you have so much access to Tiger. You have 6 ways to open with Tiger. So drawing Murmillo, drawing Secutor, and drawing Rediari isn't that bad. I think Hamster is great because it improves your bad hands. It improves your hands going first. It gives you card advantage. It improves your Book of Moons. It's just a good card in general. And having that consistent card advantage helps you versus Blackwings too, which is kind of nice. The other tech choices, I'm running 2 Forbidden Chalice. You guys might be thinking, that's kind of weird, Keegan. Why would you play Forbidden Chalice in this deck? Don't you already have Effect Negation in Gladiator Beast War Chariot? Yes, kind of. So once again, I want to improve just the first few turns of the game. And one of the best ways to do that is to have ways to fight through Raikou or set monsters like DD Warrior Lady proactively. And I think Forbidden Chalice is kind of the best way to do that. Forbidden Chalice is also one of the best draws that you can have once you have Heraclinos going, because then you can attack with Heraclinos into set monsters like Snowman Eater or Fossil Dyna post board and just have that Forbidden Chalice to make sure you can stick your Heraclinos around, basically. I think this card is really good in Glads because not only does it have that Effect Negation ability, but it also acts as a pump spell. So you guys are pretty weak. Most of the Glad monsters, actually all of the Glad monsters have shit stats. Even Laquari, 1800 is not that good, right? But Forbidden Chalice lets you use Laquari and Darius to actually get over bigger monsters. So it can either be Effect Negation or it can be a removal spell. And because it's modal, unlike Gladiator Beast War Chariot, it actually has applications in matchups like Hero Beat or matchups like Blackwings, where maybe Gladiator Beast War Chariot doesn't really do anything because it's not a hard removal spell. Forbidden Chalice actually can act as kind of a jank removal spell in those situations. So because it has that modal option, it's a little bit better in some of those matchups, and it's better early. There are a lot of circumstances where your opponent just sets a monster and says go, and you have Tiger, Glad, Chalice, and you're just okay, Tiger into Secutor, attack the set monster. Even if it's Raikou, I can Chalice the Raikou, and then Secutor can get me my +2 straight off the bat. So It's a pretty solid card for this deck. I think it's really underrated tech choice for this deck, and I've been very impressed with it. Hopefully the replays show you a little bit. Now the sideboard plan is still a little bit of a work in progress, but I'm pretty happy with most of these cards. Most of these cards I've found situations to side them in. The only one I haven't really been siding in all that much is actually Trap Dust Shoot and Cyber Dragon. I've noticed, like I said, this deck's really weak to Royal Oppression, so like siding in Cyber Dragon when you're really weak to Royal Oppression, it's like you're just making yourself even more weak to Royal Oppression. And then actually Giant Trunade, I haven't been that happy with this card. I think I may cut it. It's just card disadvantage. And this deck is very grindy, and it's all about getting those big pluses with Secutor. And I think because Giant Trunade is like -1, it kind of it deflates the Secutor resolution if it does happen. So I feel like it may be better just to actually have like a third Dust Tornado. Just as a way to deal with Royal Oppression. I found Dust Tornado to be very useful in this deck, and I've definitely wanted the third. So I think Giant Trunade might get cut, and I think Trap Dust Shoot might get cut. I have not been very impressed with it. And then I think I'm not really sold on 2 Cyber Dragons, but I'm keeping them as of right now. Let's just go ahead and hop into the replay so you guys can see how the deck works. It's really good. I've been like really liking this build actually. The first match is up against Charm Ender. I win the rock, paper, scissors. This is a match I recorded a little while ago. I open up with Laquari and Hamster, so this hand kind of just shows off the stuff. I'm using an older version of the list in this replay. I have actually 3 Hamsters and 2 Roads, no 7 tools, and only 1 Salmonite, so that's the big difference between this. But this replay is good because it showcases like what this deck does. So we get to start off with set Hamster, set Legacy, set Book, set Road, pass a turn. Opponent has a T set of their own, they pass. I'm going to go ahead and normal Laquari, flip Hamster, go get myself a Tiger. Now my opponent has to start attacking me, or else they're going to get Tigered on next turn. We go ahead and attack. It is their own Hamster, but they have Deep Prison for my Laquari, which is a little bit annoying, but it's fine. They're going to be able to activate their Hamster and grab a Raikou, which is pretty good for them. We'll just go ahead and set the Solemn and pass. They Allure of Darkness, banish Necrogardener. So they're confirming pretty much here that they're playing probably Vayu Turbo, because they've got Allure, they've got Necro, and they've got Hamster. So it's like, that's a combination of cards you usually only see in Vayu Turbo. Anyway, here comes the Raikou. Raikou's going to hit a blind back row, and thankfully it hits a Chainable. So it's a 50-50 on a Chainable here. So I just let it go through. I don't feel the need to Solemn the Raikou. He's going to potentially miss, and he does. So he misses, he hits the Legacy. If he hits the Book, we can like book the Hamster. It's actually probably best for him to try and target down the Test Tiger here, but I think this play is fine too, just going after the back row. He does hit off the mill, which is like kind of exactly what Vayu Turbo wants. They want to be able to hit off the mill so that their Armageddonite actually does something. So he's going to summon his Armageddonite, send Vayu, and he's going to switch the Hamster, and he's going to be forced to attack with all his guys just to try and clear my Test Tiger. That being said, I'm kind of just chilling. I'm cool with this. I'm going to book my Hamster here, because this is going to go get me another dude, and that's going to be pretty strong for us. We're just going to grab another Test Tiger out of the deck and kind of put the opponent in the same awkward spot that he was 5 seconds ago. Now he only has 1 back row, and we have Solemn Judgment. We've got our Test Tiger. We can now resolve Secutor. We've also got Forbidden Chalice to stop any sort of follow-up effect he may have. So I'm feeling pretty strong about all this. Normal Laquari, Solemn the Compulsory, Tiger, tag out, grab Secutor, switch the Hamster. I think it's actually best to crash the Hamsters here. You want to cut your opponent off of having bodies when they're playing Vayu Turbo, so they can't utilize it with Plague or Caius later on. They can level up their Hamster a lot easier than you can. So that's why I'm deciding to take the trade. Secutor's going to activate. We're going to grab Murmillo, Rediari. I elect not even to go into like Laquari or anything. I just decided to pop his Armageddon, banish the Vayu, and then set my back row. Pass the turn. He's going to summon Dark Arm Dragon, activate the effect. But we've got Forbidden Chalice. So Forbidden Chalice kind of carrying its weight here, kind of doing its thing, deflecting. He's going to brain control our Rediari. So like pretty much like the textbook insane Vayu Turbo draw. He had the right back row. He had the good mills. He resolved his Hamster. He's had Dark Arm brain control, and it's still like just not good enough to press through our like Hamster positioning and our Chalice, which is really kind of, it's showcasing what the deck does basically and why I'm playing the cards I'm playing. Space Typhoon hits the new back row. Secutor is going to be able to resolve again, and we're just going to take over the game with card advantage. So we're going to go to game 2 here. We open up with that Murmillo, which does suck, but we have Grandma, who's kind of like the MVP in this matchup. He starts off with Dark Greffer, Pitch Sirocco, Vayu, which is pretty strong opening. Dark Greffer is actually pretty difficult for Glads to deal with. We do have Nimble Mega Hamster. Now, this is before I was siding the Raikou, so I don't actually have Raikou in my deck. After this match, I put the Raikou in my deck because of situations like this where I need to break open the back row. That being said, I'm pretty comfortable just going Gramble, bounce the Greffer, try to set him back a little bit, and try to make him a little bit scared to use the Vayu. I don't want him to get too aggressive with the Vayu right now, so I'm just going to let him do his thing with the Greffer. He's just going to set a monster and pass. We draw into Secutor. So with 3 of these guys in your deck, in about 40% of games, you're going to draw into 1 or more of them in the first few turns. So you kind of just have to take that into consideration. That's kind of why I like the Hamster, because Hamster makes it so this isn't so bad. It's just like an extra copy of Test Tiger, basically. Some of the Gramble, swing, bounce the monster, just tempo lock him out of the game. He's going to set his monster. We're going to draw Test Tiger. That's pretty good, but still just Gramble, bounce. Gramble does a lot of work versus Vayu Turbo. If they don't have specifically Deep Prison or Mirror Force or Book, they kind of just get destroyed by it. Anyway, here comes the Dark Greffer. He's going to chain Trap Stun to the Bottomless Trap Hole, which is pretty darn good for him here, I'm not going to lie. He's going to go ahead and activate the Vayu, special summon out Armed Wing, activate Dark Greffer again. One moment, I need to cough. Alright, we are back. So representing a lot of damage here, he's going to discard Chaos Sorcerer, Descent, Plague. Now this was an interesting one. I don't know if I would have gone for this play if I was him, but it makes sense. It's going to be really difficult for him to get lights in the grave. Now he could have pitched the Sorcerer to special the Greffer, and that might have gotten him to 8,000. But I'm not sure. We'll check here in a second. He stacks. He synchros off into Bryonic. He activates Burial. So because he had Burial, I think if he had... Let me see his hand. Yeah, I don't know. I guess he could have normaled Hamster. If he pitched specials, Greffer. No, because then he can't get Plague in the grave. So it's not quite enough. Yeah, maybe he was just short either way. I didn't see what he stacked with Plague, but whatever. Doesn't really matter. He's going to Vayu Banish special Armed Wing. And then he's going to attack. So he's going to put us really, really low here. And he has Brain Control to try and close things out, which is dangerous. Trap Sun's a pretty cool tech. It's not something I was expecting out of Vayu Turbo. They can have these fast OTK hands, especially if they're playing heavier counts of Greffer or Chaos Sorcerer. So it makes sense to have something like Trap Stun in a deck like this. He's got 2 cards in hand. I think he makes a pretty bad play here where he bounces my back row. Now, this is not a very good play because I'm at 1100 and I can just reset these back row and then he has to bounce them again, but he can't because he has no cards in hand. So him bouncing them is like hoping it's like a trap card that I want to use on my turn, which there really isn't one that I would want to use on my turn. So this is a pretty big choke from him, I would say. Anyway, if he just holds those 2 cards and doesn't bounce, he's in a much better spot. That being said, I go normal Gramble, attack the Bryonic. He's got compulsory for the Gramble. So he would have compulsed the Gramble. I would have set Call of the Haunted and Mirror Force. He would have been able to pitch his whole hand to bounce both and then attack me for game. So I think had he just waited a turn on that, he would have been fine. But he punted pretty hard by activating the cards that turn. In any case, Compulsory and Trap Stun, really, his tech cards putting in a lot of work in this matchup. These are cards I'm not used to facing off against versus Vayu Turbo, but they seem pretty good in this particular matchup, basically. He's going to switch to Bryonic, not even try to go for the 50-50, and this is the worst play of the 3. He could have stacked for Plague to make Stardust Dragon. That's play number 1. He could have taken a 50-50 bounce with Bryonic and then swung with everything. I think those two plays are both better than this play. This play is very bad just because I do have the Gremel, which is going to out the Bryonic. He's going to sack for Caius main 2 to banish the back row, but now I just have 7 cards to his 1, and it's going to be impossible for him. So normal Murmillo, special to test Tiger, tag out. This matchup would have been made a lot easier had I just had the Raikou in my sideboard, because I could have set the hamster much earlier and then gotten a chance to tag into the Raikou, which would have gotten me an out to one of his back row and left me in a much better position. So after this game, I made the deck building change to add that Raikou to my side deck, just because it immediately came up in this game and made me want it. So yeah, he decided to leave the game, which is absolutely understandable given the fact that he was going to lose. All right, next replay is up against Vlad for Games. Now, Vlad for Games is playing Blackwings. I do win the rock, paper, scissors. This matchup is tricky. We open up with double Garnet, which fucking sucks. Sam Knight also technically a Garnet. But like I said, you're going to open these in about 40% of games. Unfortunately, in this hand, we don't have one of our 5 or 6 copies of Test Tiger, so we've opened double Garnet, 0 Test Tiger, which is just unlucky. I set Murmillo, set bottomless, because this is probably the best way to position myself. But unfortunately, he has Black Whirlwind and the one monster in his deck that gets value under Black Whirlwind that also doesn't get hit by bottomless, so pretty unlucky for us that I didn't set book, set call. I normally like setting bottomless first and saving the book because book is a little bit better to have in hand, and it can be played on the follow-up turn in case our bottomless gets cleared. But in this one corner case instance, we do get kind of owned. Anyway, he attacks the set monster, sucks for us. We lose the Murmillo. We draw into Wabaku. He's got 2 back row, pretty fucking annoying, but we just have to try to win. I'm in a normal Sam Knight. It's going to be met with bottomless trap hole. Really annoying. We could have booked, but there's really no reason to do that. I'm just going to set 3 more and pass. He's going to attack for 1400 here and then set a new back row. On our turn, we're going to draw Gladiator Proving Ground. I'm going to activate it, go grab Laquari. I'm going to normal summon it, check to see if he has another bottomless. Now I'm going to attack the Kalut. If he has another Kalut here, then he has another Kalut. What can you do? But he's going to book the Laquari. So he is playing Book of Moon. Not a lot of Blackwing players play Book of Moon, or if they do, they only play 1. But Book of Moon is really good in this matchup. And just the inclusion of Book of Moon alone makes this matchup a lot harder for the Gladiator Beast deck. So Laquari's going to get flipped face down. Kind of sucks, but what can you do? He's going to attack the Laquari. We're going to Wabaku. Hopefully try to float into Equest or Bestiari. Bestiari, I'm going to try to pop the other back row. I could have gone after the Whirlwind because it's guaranteed. But I figured I need to pop that back row just to be able to make my Geyserist play. Unfortunately, it is chainable, so we lose the Wabaku for nothing. He's going to go ahead and Special Gale, have the Bestiari. I don't really understand this play, but I guess he just wants to Synchro into Bryonic and bounce the Bestiari, so we can't go for the Geyserist on our next turn. Unfortunately for him, though, I do have Call of the Haunted with a Gladiator Beast in my graveyard. So I am able to piece together that Geyserist play, and we're able to blow up the Black Whirlwind and remove that threat from the table, which is very nice for us. Now we're kind of at this state of the game where we don't have protection for Heavy Storm, so we kind of just needs to hope that his Heavy Storm is in the bottom half of his deck. And that's the way I'm going to keep playing this match, is as though Heavy Storm is in the bottom half of his deck. We're going to tag out Geyserist. We're going to grab Secutor and Laquari. I've already shown him Wabaku, so it might make him a little bit more scared to attack my Secutor. Pass the turn back. He's got Sirocco. We're going to book on the summon in case he has Bora. I want to save the bottomless in case he has Dark Armed. He does have 3 Darks in the graveyard, and I would much rather bottomless the Dark Armed and book the Sirocco than the other way around. So that's what we're going to do. He's going to set 1 back row and pass. We are going to be able to switch Secutor, attack with Ready Ari, and just say, fuck it. I hope your back row isn't specifically Mirror Force. He's going to go ahead and spend a Deep Prison on the Secutor. So he's playing a lot of spot removal, Book of Moons, and Deep Prisons, as well as Legacy of Yatagarasu. So possibly on a lower count of Icarus, we don't really know. We're going to connect with both our monsters here. Rediari tags out, grabs Bestie, pops the call. Rediari tags out, or Laquari tags into Rediari, banishes the Vayu. Now he is on 3 darks, but he doesn't have that Vayu play, which is kind of nice. He's going to summon Blizzy. Blizzy's going to bring back Kalut. He's going to Synchro into Catastor. It's going to put him on 4 darks, so I know this bottom list is pretty fucking safe, unless he has Dark Eruption. We're going to be able to normal summon Laquari, and this is game on board. So despite our opponent having his best possible opening of Black Whirlwind plus Kalut, and despite us actually opening pretty fucking terribly, which was no Tiger with Rediari and Murmillo, we were able to piece together a victory, even though we had a lot of unfavorable exchanges, which is the testament to the versatility and the strength of this deck. I think it's pretty strong. Even though this matchup is bad, I will say this matchup is not a good matchup. This opening hand is fantastic, but it would have been much better going first. Going second, it's a little bit weak to Royal Oppression, unfortunately. So he's going to Allure of Darkness. He's going to banish Bora. He's going to start off with Shura, set 5 back row. And I'm just like, well, fuck me. I draw for turn, and unfortunately for us, my Lucker noob opponent has left in Trap Dust Shoot and is going to be able to resolve it. So once again, had I gone first with a hand like this, I mean, there's no way I'm losing this game. Unfortunately, he now has perfect information, and he knows exactly what we're about. So there goes the Super Nimble. Not much I can do. Just set 4. He's going to blind Typhoon, which is a bad play, and he's going to hit the Call of the Haunted. Draw for turn, attacks with the Shura. Deep Prison. He's going to book. I'm going to let that resolve. I need my Solemn to protect my Darius. I draw a Proving Ground. I'm going to normal Darius, attack. He's got Deep Prison. I'm going to Solemn, but he's going to Solemn back. And unfortunately, we're at 4,000 life points versus the deck that deals 4,000 life points very, very easily. I'm going to set the Proving Ground in case he has Icarus. I want my Starlight Road to be live. He's going to flip the Shura, attack for 18, drop us to 22. We draw Book of Moon. We're forced to go forced to go Proving Ground for Laquari. Normal Laquari, swing, book the Shura, and unfortunately we have to tag out into Rediari to play around the Blizzard that I think he has because he was checking his graveyard. And as you can tell, he does have the Blizzard. Unfortunately for us, the way the stats line up, 1200 is weaker than 1300, so even just normal Blizzard here is winning for him. Sadly, and he also top decks the perfect card Bora, and we'll be going to game 3 shortly. So a really unlucky game. My opponent had a shit ton of the right spot removal. Like I said, Book of Moon makes this matchup really tough. And then he also had the Dust Shoot, Solemn Judgment, perfect info combo, which is, it doesn't get much better than that. I'm going to be honest, especially not in the aggro mirror, or especially in the aggro mirror. He makes Bionic, which is the correct play. Because even if we do draw our 1 Raikou, which we do, we can't win. So we set to get more information. He pitches, and we see Dust Tornado. So now I know about Dust Tornado as well. If he has Royal Oppression, this matchup's going to be very difficult because he just has all of the right pieces of interaction. But we do get to go first this game, so at least we have some sort of initiative. That being said, I punt this game into Oblivion. We open up kind of bad. It's not great just because I have all monsters. So I make a really big mistake here. I just set Raikou and pass. This is such a bad play. I should have set Hamster first off. And I also should have set Mystical Space Typhoon second off. Because of this card right here. That was really stupid of me not to set my Typhoon. But he's going to get a Whirlwind Search, and that's going to matter a lot this game. He's going to attack, basically forced to blow up the Bora to play around Icarus. Mill 3. We can pop Whirlwind pretty easily with Bestiari or Geyserus, but he sets 2 and passes. And I'm just like, man, this motherfucker's not playing around Heavy Storm. Those are both real. I know it. Unfortunately for us. So we have to lead with Summon Darius, set Deep Prison, set Typhoon, pass. I want to save my Tiger play for hopefully when he has clear back row. He summons Shura, we're going to Typhoon the Whirlwind. But the Whirlwind's already got its value, so we're just down bad here. He's going to attack, we're going to Deep Prison, we're going to draw into Rediari. So again, another game we've drawn double Garnet. Just a little bit unlucky. Yeah, just a little bit unlucky. How we drawn something like a bottomless trap hole here, or I don't know. We also drew Raikou, which is technically a Garnet with Hamster, because you really want your Hamster to get Raikou in this matchup. So we drew 3 Garnets this game, which is another reason why I don't love Raikou, right? We use Ready Ari to bait the book, but now we're just kind of struggling. He's going to Allure Banish Vayu, has the perfect conversion for his 1 brick, brings out the Blackwing Armed Wing, and is able to deal us a shitload of damage. We know that Kalut is looming, so this is a tough one here for us. We draw yet another monster. As you can see, only 2 spells and traps, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 monsters in a deck where we don't play that many monsters. Like, we play 20, right? But 7 monsters and 2 spells and traps is still very unlucky. Like, that's just, it's gonna happen some percentage of games. So we Tiger. He has the 2nd fucking Book of Moon, and unfortunately, we lose the game on the next turn because he has a normal summon. And I was like, what was there to think about? Because he spent 2 fucking minutes thinking about that Book of Moon on the Secutor. Turns out he's just new to the game, so it happens. Anyway, he attacks the set. We take 2,000, 2,500, and we die to Kalut. So that's going to be the match, unfortunately. I would have liked to showcase some of the versatilities of the Hamster and the Forbidden Chalice in the Blackwing matchup. But you did see some of the strengths in Game 1, where we were able to win through a Resolved Whirlwind, which, it's pretty difficult for a lot of decks to do. So, pretty solid showing for the deck, despite it being kind of a tough loss with really unfortunate draws there at the end. The next match I have is up against Jacopo, which I win the rock, paper, scissors again, which is really nice. This matchup, I'm pretty excited to show you guys, because this is one of those matchups that everyone says is really bad, and they say it's the reason why Gladiator Beasts kind of fell off. So it's interesting to showcase it. My opponent is playing Hero Beat. So on paper, yeah, sure, this matchup is kind of tough. They have the stronger monster that's more spammable. But the end game of specifically our build, which is the Resolve Secutor and make Heraklinos, is actually really fucking good versus Hero Beat. Oop, that's the wrong duel. Because if you think about Hero Beat, if I resolve a Heraklinos, even if I'm like -1 or -2 even, they only have 2 outs. They have Honest, which they have to draw into, and they only have 2 copies of. Or they have Diva into Catastor, which loses to every single one of my back row. So Heraklinos is a win, basically. And this deck, this build in particular, is really, really good at just vomiting out a Heraklinos and say, good luck, have fun. So, let's see how that matches up. Opponent opens up with Future Fusion and Normal Summon Alias. We have Bottomless for the first Alias. Once again, this is why I like setting Bottomless first and holding the Book of Moon. I think it's just a little bit better. Anyway, he sets background passes. Now, this is exactly why I like to play triple Proving Ground over something like Elemental Hero Prisma. Let's talk about that for a second. So, if you have Proving Grounds, it's basically copies number 2 through 4 of Bestiari. So it means that if you have Proving Ground and you have a Gladiator Beast in play, you can go into Geysers, which is the strength of Elemental Hero Prisma. But Proving Ground is also a Glad name. So if you're going first and you need to have Chariot live, let's say versus like Frogs or versus Stratos decks or versus Viterbo or whatever, you can Proving Ground and you can normal summon whatever you search off of Proving Ground, and then you can have a live Chariot on your opponent's turn, which is actually really important. So I don't really like Prisma because Prisma has to combo with Tiger. It doesn't do anything going first. It's a super reactive card. On its own, it's not good because it's basically like, it's like a bad Proving Ground. I don't know how to say it. Because Proving Ground can get you to the guy. And especially when you have Secutor, it's really, really unnecessary to try and go for Prisma Tiger when you could just try to force that Secutor hit in and that'll get you more value than Prisma Tiger ever could dream of. So I think that because you're playing Secutor, you don't really need Prisma. I think that card is very overrated. And again, like I said, it's largely reactive. Your opponent kind of has to like you have to have Trap Stun, you have to have Test Tiger, you have to have like this very specific combination of cards for it to do anything. And if you don't have that specific combination of cards, Prisma's like just a mulligan. A 1700 vanilla that doesn't hold up Chariot is like exactly what this deck doesn't want more of. You saw the last game where we were drawing like tons of vanilla monsters and we weren't able to like convert a combo. Prisma just contributes even more to those types of hands, which I really dislike, and that's why I do like this triple Proving Ground. Now, because they set that new back row alongside their Future Fusion, I'm pretty sure it's a Battle Trap or a Hero Blast. It's one of those two cards, and I think I'm going to take the gamble on it being a Battle Trap, so I'm going to go ahead and Proving Ground for Bestiari. Set the Bestiari. Actually, no, this is just fine into any of those, because if I set the Bestiari, he goes Hero Blast, I can book my Darius, and I can still Geyser his pop the Future Fusion, which is really nice. So I'm going to set the Bestiari, double tag out Geyserus, and this is just crushing. Like, we've got our free +1 on these two cards. We're going to connect with Geyserus. We're going to be able to banish either his water or his alias. We're going to go into Secutor because I do have Wabaku. We're going to banish this guy. I'm going to set 2, maybe a little bit greedy. I probably should have held the Book of Moon. He does have Heavy Storm, which is unfortunate, so I maybe should have just set the Wabaku and passed. I'm going to book the Rediari. He's going to set 3 and pass back to us. Yeah. We have 5 cards. He has 3 cards. Secutor represents 4 more cards on its own. So, Mirror Force is gone. We're going to flip that Rediari. Swing with Secutor. Secutor is going to connect, and that's going to guaranteedly force at least one of these fucking back row. Rediari is going to connect for 1200. We're going to go Secutor, grab our free Bestiari, free Laquari. Now, this does suck into Bottomless, but we have to 1 out of 3 hit a Bottomless anyway. Otherwise, it's just a +2, a raw +2. I'm going to target one of his back row. He's going to chain Bottomless Trap Hole. Now, unfortunately, Secutor does summon the monsters simultaneously. So, Bottomless Trap Hole is going to banish both of these monsters on the summon. Bottomless Trap Hole reads, when your opponent special summons a monster or monsters with 1500 more attack, destroy that monsters. So, it destroys both of them and banishes both of them. But like I said, I got my +2. My opponent has 1 card, and I have 5. So I started this turn with exactly this, and I am ending this turn with even more. So we're going to grab Darius. We're going to go ahead and make Heraclinos. And like I said, his deck, it doesn't beat Heraclinos. He has to top deck specifically Diva here, or else he loses immediately. And that's exactly what happened. He didn't top deck Diva, and we get to go to game 2. So, resolving Secutor, like I said, it's just a way for you to go really over the top of these decks. It's a way for you to, like, kind of say, okay, I can go minus here. I can go minus into one of your, like, positive interactions. But once I get that Secutor hit in, it's like, I'm immediately back in the game. And then if I ever get a second Secutor hit in, the game just ends because you lose all of your cards. And your graveyard, and I have an Omni Negate guy, and it's just so much better. Anyway, opponent starts off with summon Alias, set back row, pass. We drew our 1 Raikou again, but this hand's really strong, so I'm just not complaining. I'm just going to set the Raikou. I'm telegraphing Heavy Storm. I don't want him to set more back row, so that's why I didn't set either of my cards. I'm just telegraphing Heavy Storm a little bit. He's going to e-call for Stratos. I also didn't want him to summon Stratos and pop one of my back row. That would have been annoying. So he's going to search for Ocean, totally chill. He's going to attack the set Raikou. Raikou's going to flip. I'm going to pop the back row. He's going to try to chain it, but can't chain that in the damage step. We are going to mill 3, and we're going to hit Bestiari. So actually having a good mill here, too, as well, which is pretty cool. We're going to take 1900, and he's going to set 2 and pass. I did telegraph Heavy Storm, and I did, like a Lucker noob, top deck it. So he shouldn't have set both. I'll just say that much. We are going to have Heavy Storm. That being said, we would have had Heavy or Typhoon either way. I've noticed Heavy Storm is incredibly broken in this deck, just because it's like, your opponent has to set multiple back row to stop you from doing the Secutor thing. So Heavy Storm is just always going to be good. Yeah, it's an insane card in this match, and not only in this matchup, but in this deck in general. Because when you resolve Heavy Storm, the next thing that's coming is another plus, and then it's just cascades from there. So yeah, tag out into Secutor. Stratos having 300 defense here is pretty nice because Secutor can actually kill it. So we're going to go ahead and Secutor attack over the Stratos. Now, there's a bunch of different ways I could have navigated this turn. And it's kind of tough to say. But ultimately, it comes down to, do I want to play around Honest, or do I want to play around... do I want to play around Honest, or do I want to play around, like, him, like, normaling the guy and, like, Miracle Fusioning, and... I can't remember exactly what it is that I was trying to play around. I'm going to let the turn play out so I remember. It's been a minute since I played this game. Secutor's going to resolve. We're going to get Ready Ari Darius. Darius is going to bring out the best Ari, and Ready Ari is going to banish the Stratos. Yes. And then we can tag out into Geyserist, pop the Alias, set back row and pass. Yeah, so basically what I was thinking is, like, he can summon Ocean Miracle, and that's something that can beat us, or he can have Honest, and that's something that can beat us. Now we could have gone Murmillo Laquari, Murmillo pop the Alias, and then tag into Heraclinos. And then he would have to have another Light plus Honest, or he would have to have Deep Sea Diva. I don't know for sure if he's playing Deep Sea Diva or not. I did see Crystal Seer in the last game, so that's usually a sign they're not playing Deep Sea Diva, but I don't know for sure. So I'm not really sure if I want to play around Diva or him having Miracle with the Ocean. I decided to make this play, and I think this is the play that loses to the least. But I'd have to, like, run the numbers on, like, him drawing Miracle versus him drawing Diva or Honest. I think there's possibly a different line here. That's just my inexperience in the deck, I think. Anyway, I pass back. He summons Ocean. He sets back row. We have Typhoon for the back row. That's going to be all she wrote. I mean, now we get a connect. He tries to Honest, so he did end up having the Honest, which is funny. But Ocean is a water, so opponent may be a little bit nervous here. Going to take 900. Going to take 1200 and then 1700. And then we're going to be able to tag out everything. And now it's going to be impossible to lose because we can banish his only water and then make a Heraclinos with 2 negates. And this is going to be very difficult for the opponent. He makes the third and final misplay here, which is he summons Fossil Dyna, then admits defeat immediately. I was like, you could have just said it. That being said, we would have drawn Ready Ari. So if he sets Dyna here, we're live to drawing Chalice or any Glad, basically. Because I go Heraclinos attack the set in case it's Snowman Eater, obviously. And then Fossil Dyna is good. It does pop both our monsters. But then we get a connect with Ready Ari. Ready Ari can then become Equest, add back the Laquari, or we could just go into another Laquari and have a 2100 monster and just be like, hey, deal with this. And then have Dust Tornado to stop his back row, possibly. He could Miracle Fusion into Gaia, which is pretty strong. But we do have the initiative. So this would have been an interesting game to play out. I think Fossil Dyna is an interesting card to side against Gladiator Beast. He must have recognized that his deck, not having Diva, is incredibly weak to Gladiator Beast Heraclinos. So he just needs another, like, Man-Eater bug effect that pops Heraclinos. Which is interesting because I do side out my Chariots in this matchup. And it got me thinking, if more people start siding Dyna to deal with Heraclinos, then maybe I want to leave some of the Chariots in. Because, again, the game plan is just Heraclinos. And if the game plan is Heraclinos, then I should probably keep the Chariots and the Chalice to back up my game plan as much as possible. Who knows, though? Interesting matchup. I think it's definitely not as bad as people think when you build the deck in a way to resolve Secutor and Heraclinos as quickly as possible. The last match I'm going to show you guys today is a... No, this isn't the last match. This is actually the second to last. I have 2 more matches for you guys. So I kind of gave you the meta gauntlet. There was Vayu, Blackwing, and Hero Beat, so you guys can kind of see how this deck lines up against those. This is against the 4th most common deck right now, which is Frogs. So, yeah, we open up with R2 Bricks against Frogs, which sucks. Heavy Storm and Typhoon don't do anything against Frogs, so just set the Heavy Storm and pass. Like I said, Heavy Storm is pretty much just a god card in this deck. He starts off with Substitute, swap, send Treeborn, attack for 1,000, and bounce Swap Frog and pass. Classic stuff from Frogs, but Gladiator Beast just makes this look so fucking bad. Sam Knight connects, tags into Ready Ari, banish the Treeborn, set book, pass. Summon Swap Frog, send the second Treeborn. He's going to creature swap us. Interesting main deck choice. It's actually pretty good against Glads, but against this hand, it's just not going to be enough. He's going to run over the Swap Frog, but that's fine. We've got Typhoon for his back row. If it's his own Typhoon, whatever. Give him a 50-50. Summon Darius, connect over the Ready Ari. Darius is going to tag out into Equest to add back the Ready Ari. I can set 2 more. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have Heavy Storm. Just because he hasn't used it. So he's going to bring out Treeborn, and he's going to be able to Trunade, which is a pretty strong card, actually, particularly in this matchup. We'll chain the Legacy just so we get a card deeper. He's going to sack for Thestalos. Fortunately for us, this is going to hit our Ready Ari. So it's not going to hit Book of Moon, which is my out to this Thestalos. 1 in 6 chance we got owned there, but thankfully we just don't. We draw Solemn, and that's going to be all she wrote. We attack. Book his guy, tag into Darius, grab back the Ready Ari, set 3, pass. He's going to Treeborn Frog, enemy controller Ready Ari, sure. Creature swap again, sure, doesn't really matter. We've got normal Laquari, and that's going to be all she wrote because Laquari runs over Darius, Ready Ari gets shuffled back because of Darius's claws, and then Laquari can tag into the Ready Ari and banish his last Treeborn, and we have Solemn, Chariot, Call of the Haunted. We could even call back the E-Quest and then get in further attacks if we don't want to play around Gores. So that's going to work out really well for us. That's going to be game 1. That match, like I said, this matchup's pretty good. Creature swap does make it a little bit harder. We have to be a little bit more careful about it, but this hand sucks. We have Murmillo, but we don't have Tiger. But we do have Chariot Glad, which is okay. That being said, we do kind of have to be careful of the... what is that card called? Creature swap. Anyway. He starts off with Substitute into Dewfrog, which is actually really fucking annoying. Pass back to us because we drew our Murmillo. So I just need to get the Murmillo back in the deck. I'm going to go Murmillo attack. Go grab Laquari just so I have something to attack over the Dewfrog next turn. Set Chariot, set Compulsory. Losing Chariot to Heavy Storm is not so bad because you can add it back really easily. And Compulsory is chainable in case he has Heavy Storm. So setting 2 here is a kind of a bait for a Heavy Storm. Both of our cards are like pretty good. He's got Soul Taker, so additional spell removal. Really annoying, honestly. Normal summon Substitute and decides to go into the second Dewfrog, which is just fucking annoying. Anyway, we draw on a Forbidden Chalice. Could have been a little bit useful had we had a guy in play, but we don't, so it doesn't really matter. Normal Laquari, he passes a turn back. We can just go into Geyserus. Once again, this is why I love Triple Proving Ground. You just see Bestiary when you need to. We go Geyserus, pop. He's going to double search. I'm not even going to negate these searches with the War Chariot because I want to play around Gores if possible. Swing for 24. One thing that's kind of interesting is you can Chalice the Gores, I believe. Actually, I'm not sure if you can. I think you can to stop the token from coming out. I could be wrong. No, I think I'm wrong, actually. I'm trying to think if you can Chalice the Gores to stop the token. Does that work? I need to read Gores. Hold up. Let me go back to Gores. How does he read? Special is coming. When this card is special summon. Oh yeah, they're 2 separate effects. Yes, you can Chalice Gores to stop the token, which is pretty useful in some cases. I don't fucking know. Anyway, he goes Cold Wave. It's really annoying, but whatever, you know. He's gonna pitch special swap, sack for Caius, clear my board. Pretty annoying, but what can you do? Just gotta summon Ready Ari pass. He's gonna soul exchange the Ready Ari. I could compulse my Ready Ari here, but I figured like there's a chance he's trying to soul exchange into Lad, which would be really good for me. And if not, like I just need to top deck like a Tiger or a Book, and I'm fine. He's gonna hit my Bottomless, which does suck, but we do top deck a Book, so we're fine. Proving Ground into Bestiary, summon Bestiary, attack the Firestorm Monarch, Book his guy, tag into Equest, add back Laquari, pass the turn back. He's going to bring out Treeborn, attack, compulse the Caius, Main phase 2, sack for Ryza, target the E-Quest. We've got War Chariot. He's going to Soul Taker the E-Quest, which gets me into an awkward spot. Him drawing double Soul Taker and Soul Exchange, really fucking annoying. Good card in this matchup for sure, Soul Taker. I only play one E-Quest, and this is where things get a little bit awkward because I do only play the one E-Quest. Now the reason I play one E-Quest is because it's a really bad draw. Like it's probably your worst draw. It's almost as bad as second Samnite. I figured second Samnite would come up more than second E-Quest because we are playing the hamsters. So like you'll have hands sometimes where you'll have hamster cat and your opponent will attack your hamster and you want to get Samnite. But if you get Samnite, then it kills your cat. So that came up like a lot in some of the other matches I was playing. And so I was like, yeah, maybe I play the second Samnite over the second E-Quest. That being said, I'm not really sold on either the second Samnite, but I'm for sure sold on not playing 2 E-Quest. Well, it does come up here in this specific instance where my E-Quest got Soul Takered for some fucking reason. We can still like get the E-Quest back with Darius. It's a little bit more convoluted, but it's fine. Attack for 1800. We could have Tigered into Secutor, but I think that's a little bit too weak into Battle Fader. So we're going to tag into Rediari, banish the Treeborn. Hopefully make it a little bit difficult for him to produce a Tribute Summon this turn, but unfortunately he does have that Burial from a different dimension. So he's able to bring it back, sack for Caius, target Rediari, attack for 2400. Really annoying that he has the Burial. So he drew a lot of good sideboard cards in this game. He drew the Soul Exchange, the 2 Soul Takers, the Burial, and the Cold Wave. So 5 sideboard spell cards. We draw into Wabaku. Not the best, but it can buy us another turn. He's going to play a little passively. Totally understandable. We draw Legacy. That can dig us hopefully towards a Glad. We just need a Glad to come back. I got a Wabaku here because if I drop to 1300, then enemy controller kills me, and it's very likely he's sandbagging enemy controllers. We draw a Glad, so we can go for the Tiger into Marmillo, and then I can attack for 800. Once again, don't want to burn this into a possible Battle Fader. That does end up connecting. We'll tag into Darius. Darius bring out E-Quest. Tiger the E-Quest. Unfortunately, both our Rediaris are gone as well. E-Quest and E-Quest. Turn my Tiger into a Chariot. Add back the Chariot. Set the Chariot. Hope he doesn't have Heavy Storm or Trunade. He brings back the Treeborn Frog. He does have Trunade. He's able to sack into Dark Dust. And now we're just in a bad spot. Like, straight up. Like, there's no way around it. Set Mirror Force. Set Chariot. Pass. He's going to set Monster. We just set Call. Pass. He sacks for the Thestalos. It's going to hit our Chalice. Really annoying. I'm not playing around a second Thestalos by setting into Heavy Storm, but probably should have because Heavy Storm beats me anyway. He attacks. We have Mirror Force. On our turn, we draw Glad. We're able to attack. And it's best to attack first here before going for Call of the Haunted, because if he has Gorse, he might not use it. Because of the... So, like, you attack first, and it plays around Gorse Crow. Because if he has Gorse, then you Chariot the Gorse. And if he has Crow, then he doesn't drop Gorse because he knows about the Chariot. Does he know about the Chariot? Yeah, he knows about the Chariot. So he doesn't drop Gorse. You call, and then they chain Crow, and then you can Chariot the Crow. So, yeah. Connect for 17, and now we call. And this wins through Crow Gorse. And we're able to attack with the Laquari for game. So, a pretty good matchup, I would say. Opponent resolved, like I said, 5 or 6 really, really strong spell cards. He resolved a bunch of really strong tribute monsters, but I think this matchup is just really good for Glads at the end of the day. And connecting with your Gladiator Beast monsters and Gladiator Beast War Chariot just makes it very difficult for the opponent to play. And the last matchup is up against Kick 13 from the Discord. I win the Rock, Paper, Scissors again, which is really lucky. We open up with Marmillo, Samnite, but we do have Test Tiger, which is really lucky. I'm going to summon Samnite, set Bottomless. I want to get Samnite in under Bottomless if my opponent has Bottomless. He's going to normal Tomato, attack the Samnite. He's going to go into Sangin, end battle phase. I'm going to tag into Rediari to banish the Tomato to play around Mark of the Rose. So, he's going to pass back to us. I'm going to go ahead and normal Murmillo, tag into Secutor, attack the Sanguine. He's going to take, or he's going to search Loamfire, and then I'm going to attack with Secutor. He's going to drop Gores here. I don't think this is a great time to drop Gores because it's very easy for me to blow it up. And so I do. I tag into Murmillo first, popping the Gores, and then I bring out Laquari and Rediari to banish the Sanguine. I want to banish the Sanguine to keep him off 3 darks, but I don't want to banish the Gores to power up his potential DDR. Now I make a couple of errors here. Really big error is what I do with my monsters. So the first mistake I make is I don't leave Rediari in play, I leave Secutor in play. So this would have been fine had I done the next thing right, which was set Mirror Force hold Chariot. I have Bottomless for whatever he gets off Loamfire. I want to keep 2 negates in case he has Heavy Storm, Mark of the Rose, or just 2 Mark of the Rose. So I should have left Rediari because now I can't, or set Mirror Force, one of the 2, but this is the worst of both worlds because now he can just switch the token, crash into the Secutor, and I'm just down cards for no reason. He summons the Loamfire, he's going to activate it. We don't need a Chariot that. We can just Bottomless whatever comes out off of it. It's better to save the Chariot. I think Chariot's a little bit more versatile than Bottomless because Chariot can stop Caius. So yeah, Bottomless the Titanial. He doesn't switch the token and try to crash the Secutor, so I'm never punished for my mistakes. Here we'll attack with the Secutor first just to guarantee I get that battle off. And then Secutor is going to grab Rediari and Laquari. Now we're going to be able to banish one of his plants. And I don't even need to set the Mirror Force here because 3 negates is going to be plenty for me to stop possibly Mark of the Rose, Hidden Armory, any combination of that. He's going to summon Tomato, attack the Secutor. That does suck, but he got so much value for us that is totally fine. Pick up 7 Tools of the Bandit. It's just another negate for Heraclinos. Get that Quest back in the deck because that represents even further pluses for us. I'm going to War Chariot the Tomato just so I can get in a shitload of damage. The E-Quest is going to add back the Chariot, so we're big chillin'. Connect with everything, and then tag out, banish the plant, tag out, grab back the Chariot. Main phase 2, set the Chariot, pass the turn, and that's going to be all she wrote. Heraclinos is just really fucking gross, let's be real. Alright, next game. Once again, like, if you just resolve Secutor, it's really hard for a lot of decks to beat that. This hand is not very good into a turn 1 Titanial. And that's exactly what my opponent has. He's going to set 2. Or normal Samnite, set 3. Pass the turn back. He's going to attack. We've got Wabaku to stay alive, but he's got Skill Drain to make things complicated for us. Now my game plan is to just set up a Heraclinos. We're going to attack the Set Monster. It's Tomato. I'll run over the Sanguine. He's going to search for Snowman Eater, which doesn't really do anything under Skill Drain, so I'm big chillin'. Pass the turn back. He attacks the Samnite. We let it die. And we draw Tiger. We normal Laquari. Attack the Set Monster just to get it flip face up. And I'll call and make Heraclinos. So this situation's pretty bad. My opponent could have Mark of the Rose. He could have a million things. We could just lose outright. But thankfully he has nothing. Actually, he has Mark of the Rose. I don't know why he didn't use it. Yeah, Mark of the Rose attack with both is just like game. I don't know why he didn't use his Mirror Force either. Anyway. Summon Darius to play around Mirror Force. He's not going to Mirror Force to play around Road. Makes sense. Loses his monsters. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't Mark of the Rose and just go for damage. I think that's a huge punt. But this game ends up going into like a stalemate where he never uses his Mark of the Rose. And I was just kind of surprised he never did because it would have represented a way for him to, like, he could mark Heraclinos, sack it for Cyber Dragon, like, just crush me here. But he doesn't do that, so I don't understand. Especially here, having 2 Mark of the Rose, it just doesn't make sense. Like, what are we waiting for? He thinks Colossal Fighter gets pumped up, but it doesn't because of Skill Drain. And then attacks over the Laquari. Yeah, it gets into a stalemate situation, but we end up winning it. I have to use the restroom. But I think my opponent punted this game pretty hard. That being said, smash like, subscribe. I gotta end the video here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for tuning in. RBET announcements coming soon. See you in the next vid. Peace.